Okay, M.M Out here, back again with the Apostle Leroy Scantlebury, part 2. Part 1, we talked about bus fares. We're going to do a more varied route this time, and here he is again. Welcome again, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Yes. Okay, so we had a very good debate
Yes.
about the bus fares. I think we fairly much covered what we wanted to. Now, we're going to talk about St. Peter.
Okay.
And why are we talking about St. Peter? Because he has contested the last 2 general elections in St. Peter, and he shall be contesting another one as long as he's here. We hear a lot about what they describe as blocks, with young people who hang out and they smoke marijuana, they do all sorts of things. But what has brought my attention to this is the increased number of young girls that are seen in these areas. Before it used to be mostly male, but now I'm actually seeing an increase of females. And we tend to look at females differently because they're jewels, they are jewels. What's your take on that?
Well, this is something that has been a growing trend. And let me just say this, from back when I was at secondary school, a lot of the activity in terms of fighting at secondary school was due to females.
Okay, this is due to females, meaning guys fighting over females, or females fighting?
Females fighting, females instigating fights between themselves and other females. This has escalated to the point in the change of our culture where there's a system where there's a certain level of our female society that wants to have dominance, that wants to be leading, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, it leads to them becoming sometimes more involved in drug activity, gang activity, and it's a change of psychology also within our community that has led to this happening. And I've seen it, during my campaign. I've seen the behavior many times, and even when I was out there's sometimes when I actually had to say to individuals not to speak to me like that, because once people have this idea that once you're out there, that it means I can interact with you, speak to you, deal with you anyhow, anyway. But
you're saying that the respect is not there.
It's not there.
There's no protocol.
It's not there. It's not
no
there.
protocol.
Matter of fact, I was in one place, and I had mentioned that even in the political arena that I was a man of God, and they were still asking for give me a 4 for 10. I just said I'm a man of God. I'm not going to do that. So there's a change in the psychology. Let me put it that way, in the chemical composition of what's going on within the minds of our young men and also our young women.
And Apostle, what do you think could account for that?
Well, I think there's also a change in family structure. There's a change in what goes on the block, okay? Because the block is nothing new. When I grew up, the older gentlemen, they were on the blocks, okay?
What they call blocks.
What they call blocks.
A place to hang out.
Exactly, where they would hang out and talk, play draft, play Wii, play whatever. And as a child, you weren't allowed to,
so you couldn't go over there.
You couldn't congregate with those people.
Unless they want to send you to the shop or something. Come boy, you go in the shopping.
Exactly. So the block culture has changed, okay? It has gone from a level of education to violence. Okay, so there's a shift in culture.
Well, you're on that point. I did mention just now about protocol and discipline, and this is just my thought.
Okay.
Now, when I was growing up, the church provided discipline for me,
Right.
because you had to go to church till, of course, you got to an age where you could make good excuses to get away from it, but you had to go to church.
Yes.
In my case, I had a church to the north of me and one to the south. Okay. So I was in a no-win situation, right? So I was at church Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and that sometimes twice a day. And that would go on and on and on.
Yeah.
incessantly.
Well, as you know, in growing up, my grandfather was a pastor of the church.
So you were right there in the horse's
I
mouth.
was, grew up in church, and we had church.
He was in the lion's den.
We had church almost every night. Sunday morning, Sunday schools, church. Sunday night, Monday night is prayer meeting. Tuesday night is youth meeting. Wednesday during the day is prayer meeting. Then Wednesday night is probably practice. Thursday night is ladies. Friday night is men. I mean, it was a weekly thing. So.
But you must admit that it provided a mode of discipline.
Yes, it did, and stability.
Yes,
which is missing from our society today. A lot of our young men and women are not biblically trained.
Yes, because up to last Sunday, right below me, I saw a group of youngsters going to the beach. In my country, that was unheard of.
Right.
At that particular time, this was like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you'd be in church. You'd be in church. I mean, there was no debate about it. It's not like I'm not going and that sort of thing. You just know that you had to go. Right.
And the reality also is that back then, parents didn't just send their kids to church. Parents went to church.
They went to church.
Which is a difference to now. Today we have kids who their parents send them to church, but they themselves don't come. So.
Well, actually, you have kids today, and their parents are kids.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Their parents are kids, and they didn't go to church, so you can't expect these ones to go to church.
True.
So that's where the discipline fell down. And I must admit, I didn't enjoy going to church, but I had to go.
What was also beautiful, Mr. Morris, is that the school system that we grew up under was attached to a church.
Yes.
So, I think I remember way back as Reverend Bell at All Saints. He was at All Saints and also at St. Philip the Less. He would start prayers on Mondays. Sometimes he would come to the school just to pay a visit, to check up on what's happening. I think this was very, very important. We would have our mass prayer on Monday mornings as we go into school, and then on Friday evenings we closed off with mass prayer before we went home. So, we had a regiment, something that helped us to develop ourselves.
But I'll tell you this, I remember at Colleton Party, in my time at Colleton Party, there was always on staff, I'm talking about teacher, who was a reverend. I mean a known reverend.
Right.
I had Reverend George Knight, who was a canon now, and I had Father Vaughn, right, who's dead now. Right? Both of those men, well, Canon Knight is still there. But both of them held high positions and were meant to be feared.
Yeah. And again, what was also very interesting as I looked at it, a number of those who were teachers within our school system were also Christians.
Yes.
And then beyond that, many of them grew up in strong families with strong parents. And many of them were family-oriented persons themselves with their own families. So they brought that kind of care and level of discipline to the school system as well, which was vital.
But I always sing this song that I'm going to say we, I don't mean you and I mean in general, try to imitate the satanic and evil ways of the United States of America, where they stop singing any Christian songs in the schools. It's like, it's actually a law. You can't do that.
Yeah, certain states it is. I always believe that for a country like Barbados, each nation needs to know where it's going. They need to know, every government needs to know where we're going to take our people. And again, I go back to what the Bible says, where there's no vision, people perish. As
I said, I've blamed the total lack of, the falling down society, totally on the lack of discipline, and I think not going to church, or not being made to go to church, is a big part of the falling down of discipline in Barbados today.
Well, I completely agree with you. The church over the years have tried its best to be there for our people, to help them understand that as much as you're advancing in whatever field, there's also the spiritual component. I think that's something that needs to be very strong. I think also our youth, especially here in St. Peter, can benefit from a level of spirituality, consciousness spirituality, because personally one of the things I believe that for an individual you need to be in your perfect environment in order to grow properly. And that's one of the things that the church should provide, the perfect environment for a person to learn and to grow properly.
Yes, very much so. And also, Balber, on that subject, in my time, even if I say your parents, and that other person over there are not on friendly terms, it had nothing to do with you as a youngster. Exactly. You still have to respect that person.
Children should be seen and not heard.
But today, if that little child stays at home and they overhear their parents talking something about you, they're going to pause and look at you and stare at you.
Well, again, I grew up in a home. I never saw my grandparents fighting.
But as I said, I didn't mean you in general. I meant
yeah. But I never saw my parents fighting. We grew up what we were considered poor. There were 6 of us, and one of the things, and I think I mentioned this to you, that it's one thing to look at a person where they are now and figure that you know the person. Sometimes people come into your life in chapter 6 and they have not read chapter 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yes,
but they figure that they know you.
We had that conversation previously and on another matter.
And this is something that people must understand. There's a journey that everyone is taking. That journey leads people based on what they do in several areas. It leads someone to success. It leads another person to success. Another person gets off the path, ends up in prison. But
there's a path
that everyone is taking.
But
I think it's critical.
You brought an interesting analogy to me about that. You said that this young girl might meet this guy who's driving a BMW.
Right.
And she's very impressed with him. Mm-hmm. But he's at chapter 6.
He's at chapter 6.
She doesn't know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because that's when he came in. Right. He may have been in prison at chapter 2.
Correct.
For killing his girlfriend.
That's right. But you came into his life at chapter 6.
Yeah, and you think it's all glory.
Exactly.
You don't know what happened before there.
So
I was very impressed with that analogy, by the way.
This is where people get into judging people without actually knowing the full story. And I think every person should be allowed to expand themselves, to expose themselves to the wider world, to learn things, to go on, to develop themselves, and to become productive citizens.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what's going to happen 50 years from now. The way that people of a certain age group, and you can't get away from the fact that they're going to be the leaders, because the children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. So sometimes I often say to myself, I'm glad I'm not going to be here. Because I know 18 years from now I'm not going to be here. Yeah. But I'd actually like to know what it's going to be like.
Yeah. Well, as we get to the close of this session, I remember when I was in 6 Mains, I was talking to a gentleman by the name of Mr. Brown. And while he was speaking to me, he started to cry. He said, you know what? It hurts me to know that I'm going to die in a Barbados that I never expected to see. He said he remembered the year when Barbados amassed over 290,000 tons of sugar. And the fact that Barbados is now struggling to amass 29,000 tons. He said, I never saw that coming.
Then one factory?
So,
one factory?
They're variables, and I think that we have to pay attention right now to where we're going and build our nation, create a vision, and begin to build our nation accordingly.
Okay. Apostle Scantlebury,
yes, sir.
We're coming to a close. As usual, has been a very interesting and refreshing conversation with the Apostle. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, thank you, sir.
Blessings, Mr. Morris.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
M.M Out There, over here, everywhere, all over the place, saying bye for now. Let's make right today.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.